Welcome to Whiteboard Project Management, and this episode is specific for project crashing activities. What is crashing activity, when the crashing activity can be used, and how we can use it in a logical way. What does this mean? In a simple way, a woman can deliver a baby in 9 months. They said that project managers believe that 9 women can deliver a baby in 1 month. This is not logical, but this is all about project crashing activities. So prepare your cup of coffee, prepare your white sheets, and let's hit the whiteboard to see the crashing activity, when can be used, and to which limits the activity crashing is logical. Let's start the session. Crashing is a method used to reduce activity duration. Let's hit the whiteboard and explain the activity crashing. If we have an activity which is planned for, let's say, 2 days, so this is the first day, second day, and third day. This is time, and this is the work required for that time. If the activity is planned for 2 days and it's planned for, let's say, 1 person, 2 persons, and 3 persons, means that I have here 1 person, a standard of 8 hours per day. So if I have this activity planned for 2 days, duration of 2 days, for 1 person. So if I will multiply 2 by 1, required 2. If I want to reduce the time of this activity to be 1 day only, so this activity, this area, this is the work required, the amount of work required. This is the area here, A, which requires the work. If you compress this activity, reduce it with 1 day, this activity will be increased over here. Because the amount of work stays always the same, means it's like a balloon. You push it from one side, it will increase from the other side, and the air inside the balloon is the amount of work required. But sometimes you press the activity to a way that you are decreasing to a non-logical way, where you will crash the crashing methodology. Means if you have the balloon and you decrease the balloon, it will increase from one vertical side. But if you decrease it to its limits and decrease it more, push it more, the balloon will blow out. That means you reach to the limit of your crashing, the horizontal side, and it will increase on the vertical side. Means if I will push this activity to reduce it on 1 day, it can be increased with 2 people in 1 day, but with a condition that it's logical. For you as a project manager, you need to always look which activities to be crashed and whether it's logical. You need to find the limits of crashing. Now I prepared for you an example for the crashing, and let's go to the PC and I will show you the practical crashing, when you can use it on a time schedule and how you can apply it. Okay, so we explained the simple of activity crashing, and now on the PC I will show you the practical example which I prepared for you to explain the crashing. So
And now, as a first important thing is the cost of crashing. When the cost of crashing from where you can take it. So you want to reduce your project time for a reason. Either you are not going to fulfill your deadline and you need to decrease it. That means the risk is on your side as a contractor, or for a reason, market requirements, and you as a customer, you need to reduce your deadline. That means you send a change request to, or a change order to you, to the contractor, or could be another factor. For all cases, as it's mentioned here, the cost of crashing will be taken if the risk is defined. That means you as a contractor, you are executing the project and there is a risk of not fulfilling your deadline. You have defined your risk. That means defined risk is you have a contingency reserve for this defined risk. If you don't know the definition of the risk and the contingency reserves, go back to risk management. In WPM, we have a full session explaining the threats and the contingency reserve in the risk management and also in the cost management episode. So either you take it from the contingency reserve for the defined risks, or from the management contingency reserves for the non-defined risks. Or you as a customer, if you are requesting this, definitely you have a reserve for the project to take it from this. If you are a contractor and you received a change order from your customer, that means the cost of this crashing will be covered by the customer in a change order. And this will be paid for you either as a lump sum or a cost plus fee. It's according to the agreement between you as a contractor and the customer. So this is the cost of crashing. Now, this example is for some activities which are activity A, B, C, D to activity K. I just put here so many activities to make it more real or more looks more real for you in the real project. Because if I would put only 3 activities, it will be very easy. And once you will get the real time schedule, you will be like panicked. So let's see here. We have activities. I assumed that these activities has some duration and some cost. So you can see the project cost is 45,000 US dollars. And you can see for each activity here, the cost of each activity. Your project is finishing for day number 14. So you are finishing your project in 14 days, but a change request or client request, or for a reason, your deadline is modified to be on day 12. Means you have to reduce day 14 until day 12. You need to reduce the full time schedule with 2 days. What shall you do? You can say, yes, it's easy. I will take the longest activity here and I will short it with 2 days. This is not the correct way. The correct way is to make an analysis for the critical path and then decide which activity to be crashed. How? I will explain it now. Here you can see the critical path A, C, G, J. But you have another critical path, which is D, E, F, I. Another path, which is B, H, and K, is not critical because it has a slack. It's floating. There is a floating here, so it's not critical. Means I have 2 critical paths in this project. If I want to reduce day 14 to day 12, I have to reduce 2 days from critical path 1 and 2 days from critical path 2. So let's make a simple analysis on both critical paths. Critical path 1, this is the critical path which has A, C, G, and J. You need to crash it with 2 days. If we go back, A, C, G, and J, you need to crash it with 2 days. This is 4 days, 3 days, 3 days, 3 days. So either you take 2 days from one activity, or you take one activity 1 day and other activity another day. Okay, so this is the probabilities which could be happened, A, C, G, and J. You always crash with 2 days, means either I take 1 day, 1 day, 1 day A, 1 day G, 1 day A, 1 day J, and so on, or 2 days and from one task, and that's it. Here, if I have this activity, the duration, the critical path cost, and the cost of crashing for 1 day or for 2 days, if this cost is the crashing cost, so if I will apply these here, if I will crash activity A and C for 1 day, that means A and C for 1 day, it's 1,200 plus 3,000, this is 4,200. The same will be applied for the other activities. So here I have the cost of crashing for critical path 1. You have the cost of crashing, and then you take the minimum cost of crashing, considering that this crashing is logical. The crashing which is not logical, remove it, don't put it in the analysis, because you could crash, but only the logical crashing. What is logical crashing? Means if you reduce the time, if you need to build a house for 3 months with one person, then you cannot reduce to make the house built in 1 day with 100 people. This is not logical. So you need to know the limit where it's really logical to crash it. So this is the analysis of crashing for critical path 1. Critical path 2, as we mentioned, D, E, F, and I. If we consider the crashing cost for 1 day or 2 days are those amounts, then you have the possibilities again to crash either 1 day from each activity or 2 days per activity. You put the total cost same as before. If I will take the cost of crashing for the D and E, this for 1 day, this is 3,500, 2,500, together it's 6,000. So I put it here, and I put all the others, the logical crashing only. The minimum of those is 3,000. The minimum is crashing of which activity? It's only activity E for 2 days. Back to the schedule. So now we know that critical path, the first critical path, I need to crash activity A because I have activity A with 2 days to be crashed. This is the minimum. And the critical path 2 to crash activity E with 2 days. So I crashed here activity A for this critical path, and I crashed activity E with 2 days for the second critical path. Now I have my schedule in 12 days, and it's fit the 12 days deadline. You can see here this activities which has been crashed. The new cost is here added, and the total cost is now increased. Side by side, if you put both time schedule, which was before crashing for 14 days with its cost, and the new time schedule, the crashed time schedule with -2 days, with the activities the minimum cost of crashing, which is causing the cost of the project 46,600. The difference between the two costs, that means 45,000 and 46,600. This is the 1,600 US dollars. This is the cost of crashing for -2 days. And this cost should be taken either from your contingency reserve, activity contingency reserve, if the risk is defined, or from the management contingency reserves if the risk is not defined, or the client or the customer pays it for you as a change order if the client requesting to reduce the duration from 14 days to 12 days, because you could work on a site, and due to some requirements, another contractor need to step on the start on his activity, but you need to finish your activity. So you said, I have my cost baseline to finish in 14 days. So the client gives you a change order. Okay, decrease your time schedule to make it 12 days, make crashing, submit to me the change order, and I will approve it. You make this analysis, you give the client the reason analysis for the crashing, and once the client approves this change, then you can proceed with executing, and you can apply the change request procedures as per the contract. The change request is also specified in the change management episode in WPM. If you want, you can go and check this episode. So now I can see the both crashing and the benefits, and I hope that I delivered to you most of the crashing meanings. And if you have any questions, you can send it to me by email or on the showing contact details, and I will be happy to reply to you and assist you. If you like this episode, you can subscribe to the channel. This will help the channel to deliver more audience and deliver more knowledge to all people around the world. Help the people, and you will get help. Thank you, and see you in the other episode.